The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, you guys. I'm excited to be on the call today and get the opportunity to show you guys how to use this JK Closing Agent One app to elevate your real estate business. There's several things that we're going to go over today. I'm going to show you guys how to not only use this thing as an effective tool to talk numbers with your clients, but I'm also going to show you guys some exciting ways to market your real estate business using this tremendous tool. And so excited to get the chance to show you guys that today. The first thing though that I want to show you guys is the download site, www.JKClosingAgent.com. The reason I want to show you guys this is because you can get this app on whatever device you want. We allow you guys to have the app on up to 5 different devices, and so downloading this on your computer at the office and your laptop at home and your tablet and your phone is definitely going to make it an amazing tool for you guys across all your devices. You can actually save your documents on one device, your estimates on one device, and load them up on a different device, and possibly show your clients a net sheet on your iPad that you were working up on your phone. So definitely wanted to show you guys that we do have this download site available for you guys to get that app on whatever device you please. There's also going to be a login button in the top right corner for those of you who are just wanting to access this web version. When you go on your laptop or desktop, we actually have a web version. You don't have to download the app on your desktop or laptop. You can if you want to, but if you just want to log in through the website, we allow you guys the opportunity to do that as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into that JK Closing Agent One app. I'm going to press on that PalmAgentOne app icon right there, and it's going to open up by default to the buyer tab, as you can see down here at the bottom of the screen. This is going to be the navigation bar and how we get throughout the app. That buyer tab, of course, how we'll create those great looking estimates for our buyers. Seller tab, of course, that's what we'll use to create that great looking net sheet for our listing presentations. The calculators tab, that has a ton of additional calculators that we've loaded in here to help you guys in every different facet of your business. We've got a rent versus buy calculator in there, a loan balance calculator, a qualify, some really cool reverse calculations. Definitely a tremendous amount of value in that calculators tab. Over 13 different calculators loaded in there for you guys. I'll touch on a few of those with you guys today. And then there's the premium tab. Now, the premium tab is going to require a subscription from you guys. You can either pay 99 cents a month, or if you want to pay for the full year, you can pay $9.99. And for that subscription, you're going to essentially get your own marketing department. We've got 3 really innovative content types that make it extremely easy for you guys to market your business on social media. And so I'll definitely show you guys what's included in that premium subscription. But first, I want to start by talking about that buyer tab and generating that estimate when we're house shopping with our buyers. You know, when a buyer's pre-approved for a certain amount, let's say 400,000, not every house that they look at is going to be 400,000. You know, they might look at houses that are 375, 385, 390, and they're going to want to know the difference in monthly payment and bring to close on those different price points. Well, this is the tool that you guys are going to want to have in your pocket, because you can pull out your phone and really look professional talking numbers, because you can give answers to questions like, what's my monthly payment going to be, or what do I need to bring to close on this home? So really tremendous tool for you guys. And we like to keep it simple for you. That's why we've loaded in a lot of these defaults. You can, of course, change any of these defaults, but we've loaded this in so that it's quick and easy for you guys. You can pull this app out and then just plug in a home price. Just plug in a home price and hit compute, and that's going to get you to a rough estimate for your buyer. But for this call, I do want to go through this input screen with you guys a little bit more, just to give you a better understanding of how to use some of the features that we've loaded into it. All right, so first up there in the top left corner, it says conventional. You can actually switch between a variety of different loan types there. FHA, VA, all cash. We've got several different options there, and each of them have the associated fees. We worked closely with Charles and his team there to load in all the fees associated with those different loan types, and so definitely want you guys to be using that when you're trying to run different types of scenarios for your clients. Now, I'm going to plug in a home price, something fairly conservative here. I'll do 320,000. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is something that we've done to this app to make it easier for you guys to use, and it's making these input fields intuitive. And down payment is a perfect example of this. As you can see, we've got a 10% down payment defaulted in there for you, but maybe you're working with that buyer who wants to put a solid dollar amount down payment down. Maybe they're saying, hey, I want to put $100,000. I've got $100,000. I want to put it all down on this new home. So we can actually type in 100,000 and the app's going to recognize that as a dollar amount for you automatically. And so input fields are handled like that throughout our app. If it's above 100, it's going to be recognized as a dollar amount instead of a percentage. I'm going to keep that at 10 for 10%. We can, of course, change the interest rate, term length, hazard insurance. We've, again, preloaded that all in there for you guys so that it's easy and simple. Base that off of averages, but you can get as detailed with this as you want. You can go in there and tweak those numbers if you want. I'm going to keep them the same. The one thing I am going to change, though, I want to talk about taxes. Now, taxes work like the down payment did before, so it's recognizing that as a percentage. We've got a tax rate loaded in there, but if you want to put a dollar amount, that's actually going to be the best way for you guys to handle taxes. If you've got that MLS sheet and you know how much was spent in taxes last year, just plug in that full annual dollar amount. We'll know to divide that up and give it the monthly payment. Now, there are other ways to handle those taxes, though. So first, I want to draw your attention up here to the top of the screen. You can see I'm associated with Palm Beach. Well, JK Closing Agent is actually available in several different counties there down in Florida. So you can always change your area with this drop-down arrow right here. So the rate that's loaded in here is the rate that's loaded in for Palm Beach. Now, when in Palm Beach, I can also pull a rate by hitting this drop-down arrow. So if I hit that drop-down arrow, again, Charles and his team has worked closely with us to load in areas and rates from you guys' surrounding areas there in Palm Beach. And so you can scroll through and choose a rate. And this list of tax rates is based on what area you're associated with up here at the top. So these are just Palm Beach rates. If you switch over to a different county, you're going to get a different list of rates. That's something that we've worked with them to build in to make this a useful tool so you guys can estimate. When you're out there meeting with that client, you don't have the MLS sheet readily available and you don't know how much was spent in taxes last year, you can just choose a rate based on an area here. So I'm going to choose that Jupiter rate, hit done, and it loads that new rate in there for me. So that's the two ways to handle taxes. Either hit that drop down arrow and choose a rate based on an area, or the preferred way, plug in that annual dollar amount, however much was spent in taxes last year. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit compute. I want to get to those results for my buyer. So I press compute, and just like that, I'm able to tell my buyer that they're going to spend about $23.66 a month, and they're going to have to bring about 45 grand to the closing table to close on this $320,000 house. You'll notice that we've included all these little sub fees in that monthly payment. For example, PMI. We've got PMI automatically loaded in here since we put less than 20% down. So that's going to be included. MIP is going to be included on this if you use an FHA loan type. If you choose a VA loan type, this result screen is also going to show a funding fee. So we've loaded all of that in for you guys. Now, when we talk about this bring to close amount, that of course is that 10% down payment, the $32,000. But then I want you guys to know that we've also got all of these closing costs associated with this scenario that we've just ran. So again, we work closely with the JK Closing team there to load in all the fees that you guys typically need when you're out there estimating. So when you're running this estimate, it's including all the fees that you typically need, so you're getting really close. You're going to be a few dollars off when you're meeting with your buyer and talking about these estimated numbers on monthly payment and bring to close. Now, when you go press this detailed closing costs button right here, you can actually go in there and see all those fees that have been preloaded in there for you guys. So again, all of this is loaded in here so that you're getting really close when you're estimating. But every transaction is different. And if you guys want to go in here and dial this estimate in a little bit more, you can always go in here and edit your closing costs. Up here in the top right corner, we've got an edit button. And by pressing that, I can now go in here and change the prepaids. I can toggle certain policies to be paid by the other party. I can use these X's to remove line items, add new line items with the plus right here, and of course we can change the numbers that are already shown. So I'm going to make a quick change. For example, we've got a origination fee loaded in here as a 1% average, but maybe the lender that I use, he charges a flat fee. He charges $1,500. So I plug in $1,500. Again, that's above 100, so it's automatically going to recognize that as a dollar amount for me when I press this done button, and bam, I've got a $1,500 origination fee loaded in here. That's the only change I'm going to make, but I need to save that change. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press that done button up there in the top right corner, and it's going to give me two saving options for that fee change I just made. I can save that change for all future estimates or for this estimate only. So if I need to go in here and tweak the numbers for a specific transaction, I can just choose for this estimate only. But if I want to go in here and tweak my defaults, go in there and add maybe a fee that my brokerage charges for every transaction that I run, I can go in here, add that fee, and then hit for all future estimates to have that fee change reflected on every estimate that I run moving forward. So we give you guys two saving options to really make this tool work for you and your business. All right, I'm going to press for this estimate only, and I'm going to press that back button up there in the top left corner. I'm going to take us back to our results screen and talk about some of the functionality that we've loaded in here on the results screen. Now, the first thing I always like to point out is the editability of these results. It's going to make it an extremely useful tool for you guys when you're out there meeting with your buyers. This is a great looking results screen, something that you can flip the device around and show your client, and they can look at this and know what's going on. They know how much they're going to be spending monthly, what they need to bring to close, a little rough breakdown of those. But maybe they look at this and they say, hey, $2,366, that's a little high. We were actually trying to keep our monthly payment around $2,100. Well, we can actually work with these numbers in real time. I can press this edit button below that monthly payment number and change this to $2,100 here. And when I hit this done button right here, it's actually going to recalculate how much I need to bring to close to get a monthly payment under $2,100 on that $320,000 house. So we've got the flexibility to continue talking numbers with our buyer when they see those results and they got something to say. And of course, the same goes for the bring to close over here. Maybe our buyer doesn't have this much, or better yet, maybe they've got more. Maybe they just sold their home. They've got $100,000 that they want to bring towards this new home. They don't know how much of that $100,000 is down payment, how much is closing costs. They just know that they have $100,000. Well, I can press that edit button below that bring to close amount, change that to $100,000, and when I hit done, we're going to be able to tell that buyer, hey, with that $100,000, 88 of it's going to make up the down payment. The rest of it's going to be closing costs, and you're going to look at a monthly payment of about $1,986. If you can put $100,000, you can bring $100,000 to the closing table. So again, you guys are going to look extremely professional and knowledgeable when you're talking numbers with your clients. This thing really makes you look professional. All right, now one thing I want to do is I want to scroll down here. I could edit the estimate that I'm still in, or if I want to start all the way over, I press that refresh icon up there in the top left corner. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with the estimate that I'm working with right now since I made that origination fee change. Now, what I want to do, though, is I want to put that down payment back to that more realistic original scenario that we ran, that 10% down. So I'm going to change my down payment back to 10%, scroll all the way to the bottom, and hit compute. And so now I still have my fee change, and I'm still working on the same estimate here. Now, the next feature I want to show you guys is something that's going to make this a more useful tool when you're out there in the field. We want to load in features that are going to help you guys overcome obstacles that you often find yourself in. And so you can access an additional feature on most of your result screens of the calculators available in the app. And like I said, these features help you overcome an obstacle that you often face. So here, when working with buyers, we see that you guys are often working with those buyers who are trying to get you to submit too low of an offer. Maybe the house is listed at 360, but this buyer is saying, hey, I'm capped out at 320. Can you just submit that 320 offer for us? And now you're caught in this difficult situation of having that conversation with that buyer and trying to educate them into making a more competitive offer. Well, what we can do is we can hold our device in front of us, rotate it to the left or the right, like we're trying to watch a movie on it, and rotate it back. It's going to create a screen that says how offer price can affect my payment. And then it's showing with $10,000 increments what making a more competitive offer looks like monthly. And you know what? I prefer to use this settings gear down here in the bottom left and to change this to show the difference instead of the actual payments. On the right side, I could also adjust the increments. I'm going to keep that at 10,000, but I'm going to hit done, and it's going to rerun all that same information, showing the difference in monthly payment. So now I can have this conversation with my buyer where I can say, hey, you guys, this is a beautiful house, an extremely popular neighborhood. There's going to be other offers made on it. If you guys are serious about trying to close on this home, we're going to have to make a more competitive offer. Maybe we can meet that seller halfway at $340. You know, if we could do that, that's only going to change your monthly payment by $147. I saw how you guys were looking at the house. Are you sure you want to let $147 be the straw that broke the camel's back? So this is a much more effective way for you guys to get that lowball buyer to make a more competitive offer by breaking it down monthly for them. And you know what? If you want to send this over to your client, we've got a share icon in the bottom right corner. And if you press that, it's going to take all those figures and put them on a flyer that really helps you drive the message home. We've actually got two different styles of this flyer, so you can swipe over and see alternate styles of that flyer. This first one, of course, addresses an escalation clause. You can tell that client, hey, you know, I know you want to make that lower offer. Let's go ahead and submit that lower offer, but let's put an escalation clause on it. I want to make sure that you guys get this house. So again, a really effective way for you guys to handle working with that lowball buyer with this feature, this rotate feature that's been loaded into your results screen on that buyer side. All right, I'm going to press that back button up there in the top left corner, and I'm going to take us back to our results screen. And now I want to draw your attention to this blue bar up here at the top. Whenever you see that blue bar, it's going to show you additional results screens that you can swipe over to. So first, I'm going to swipe right on this screen. It's going to take me to that tool on the left side, which is the Smart Compare tool. So I swipe right. It takes me to the page on the left, which is, again, that Smart Compare tool. Now, the Smart Compare tool is just a loan comparison tool. The reason we call it Smart Compare is because we've built in algorithms to automatically create these two compared loans on the bottom based on some savings that can be found. So the app recognized we put 10% down in that 30-year term, and it said, hey, wait a second, another option for you to show your buyer is if they put 20% down, they're going to have about 30 grand in savings. And if we want another option to show that buyer, if they can do a 15-year instead of that 30-year, they're going to have about 110,000 in savings. So a really powerful way for you guys to quickly and easily show your clients some purchase options. Now, like I said before, this is just a loan comparison tool. And so if you want to go in here and edit these two compared loans, you can just press that edit button in the top left corner, and you can, maybe compare a different loan type or go in there and adjust the interest rate, do whatever you want. But like I said, we're going to try to create those for you guys automatically. All right, so that's the Smart Compare on the left side of the buyer estimate result screen. Now, if I swipe back over on the right side of the buyer estimate result screen, we've got a loan details page. You'll find all the loan details up here at the top. And if you scroll down to the second half of the page, you're going to see that we run an amortization schedule for every scenario that you put through that buyer program. So you can go into any of those years, see how much interest and principal was paid and what the loan balance would be for each of those months within any of the years. So definitely want you guys to know that when you need that amortization schedule, we do have it in here for you. And if you want to send this or that Smart Compare that I showed you, if you want to send that over to your client, just always look for the share icon. That box with the arrow coming out of it up there in the top right corner, that's how you'll be able to send off your results to your client. All right, let's swipe back over to our results, our normal estimate results, and let's talk about sending these over to our buyer. We've got several options for doing so. The first way is the quick and easy way. This is what you guys will be using when you're out there house shopping. You know, maybe we just looked at one house. We just walked this one house. We're about to head to the next house. I want to send these results to my client. I don't want to send them the full 2-page report just yet and overwhelm them with the closing costs. I essentially just want to send them this monthly payment and bring to close before we go look at the next house. Well, what I can do is I can press and hold on this result screen. I like to do it right here in the white area between the two circles. But if I press and hold there, it's going to take what we call a snapshot. It'll throw the home price up there at the top. Numbers are estimate only, verbiage down here at the bottom. And now I can text, email, or post to social media just the pertinent information. Just that quick snapshot. I can send it over to my client. If I do, however, want to send that full 2-page report, we've got that share icon in the top right corner. Pressing that is going to give you your share options. I do like to start at the bottom here and mention that save estimate functionality. Like I said before, you can have this app on up to 5 different devices, and we give you free cloud storage. And so if you're working up that net sheet on your phone, but you want to show it to your client on your iPad or continue working on it on a larger screen like your laptop or desktop, you can save the estimate within the app and load it back up on a different device. So definitely wanted to mention that for you guys. The text snapshot feature, this is the feature I just showed you guys. This is just an alternate way to access that. Geo Reports are actually a special type of normal estimate or a buyer estimate, but it is going to require a subscription of premium. I'll get to the Geo Reports in just a second. Those things are extremely valuable to you guys, and I'll show you why. But first, I want to talk about the sinful report. I want to talk about a normal buyer estimate. So I'm going to press that sinful report, and it's going to create that great looking report for me. So I've got all that loan information up here at the top, monthly payment and bring to close breakdown. Scroll down to the second page. I've got all those closing costs itemized out here. So that's loaded in there for me as well. Now, I also want to mention for you guys that you can go in here and load your photo and logo in. So you could go to edit profile and you can load your photo and logo into your account. And there you'll be able to get that branding on your report for you. There's also other things that we can do to this estimate. If you look up there in the top left corner, you'll see that we've actually got a language button. So you can translate this entire document to any one of the 14 different languages that we've preloaded in here for you guys. So when you're working with a buyer who speaks a different language, this is an amazing way to connect with that buyer by translating that entire document to any one of the 14 different languages that we've got loaded in there. So definitely wanted to mention that is available in there for you guys. Now, if you look down there in the bottom left corner, we've actually got a property details button. So if I go in there and load in my property details, I can put, for example, Joe Buyer. Actually, I'm going to go in and I've just updated to add premium to my account so I can show you the branding. And so I'm going to go ahead and close the app, and I'm going to get to that same screen so fast for us so that we can actually look at that premium content with the photo and logo on there. So I want to show you guys how quick we can get to the results that we were just at. So I'm running this scenario, $320,000 scenario, hit compute. I've got my results here, share icon up there in the top right corner, send full report, and now I've got that great looking report. So it doesn't get any easier than that, you guys. But now I want to go back into property details and go in there and plug in that buyer information. So Joe Buyer. I could plug in a property address here. This actually has been integrated with Google, so if we start typing in an address, it's going to try to pull one for us automatically, or if we're standing there on the property, we can actually press this location finder and have that address pulled for us automatically. The notes section is great for what school district or any other information like that. And you can see we can actually add property photos to this estimate. Definitely something I want to talk up with you guys. If you guys select photos that actually speak to those buyers, you're going to make it more likely that those buyers buy the house. You know, if we're walking the house with the husband and wife, and the wife is raving about the counters and the cabinets in the kitchen, we should have a photo of that kitchen on the estimate that we send to that husband and wife later that day. And so being able to choose which photos, or even take the photos that are going to be most relevant to those buyers specifically, you're going to make it more likely that those buyers buy the house. I'm going to go in here and load in a few photos. Like I said, we could take a picture right then and there, or we can pull from our photo library. I'm going to just go ahead and load in some photos that I have on this device already. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to load a front-facing photo for that first photo. You can load in a photo of a lender's business card. That's one of the ways that we've done that, or we've seen agents doing that. But I'm going to showcase features that spoke to my buyers. So I'm going to load in a photo of the backyard. They really loved the backyard. And of course, the kitchen, because the wife was raving about the counters and the cabinets in the kitchen, like I said before. So I'm going to load in a photo of that kitchen as well. Let me go ahead and crop it to the right area there. And now we've got great looking photos loaded in here. If you want to attach a video link, maybe drone footage or video walkthrough, you can attach that link here. And then of course the buyer can sign this. If you, the realtor, signs this, it's going to save your signature to your account. I'm going to skip all that though, and I'm going to hit that save button up there in the top right corner. And just like that, I've got that address. I've got those photos prepared for Joe Buyer down there. It just makes a professional piece of content for you guys to send over to your client. You're really going to look professional with these report styles. And a few other things to mention about these reports. We are going to have a disclaimer on here because at the end of the day, this is just an estimate. It's not an actual CD. So we do have that disclaimer that's going to automatically be populated. You can actually edit your disclaimer in your profile. I can show you that a little bit later. Another thing I want to mention, for you guys to have your photo and your logo loaded into your account, you're going to have to be a premium subscriber. That's something that compliance made us move over to the premium subscription portion of the app, just to eliminate any risk of co-advertising with you guys and the folks there at JK Closing Attorneys. So it's to protect you, it's to protect them. That's something that compliance put in place. But again, for only 99 cents a month for that premium subscription, adding your photo and logo to your account is going to be the icing on the cake. I'm going to show you guys so much value for that 99-cent subscription. Your mind's really going to be blown. All right, so if you look up there in the top right corner, we've got several different report styles that you can swipe through. 1 through 5 are the normal estimate styles that are being provided to you guys for free by Charles and his team there, JK Closing Attorneys. So styles 1 through 5, normal estimate styles, just different style options. You know, we want you to be able to choose the one that you think your buyer is going to connect with best. And so different style options. Some of the different style options have different features about them. This one here, we could change out this cover photo. That'll be an added option in property details. I can also change the color options here, change the color theme of this report. So we've got a few added options on some of these report styles. Again, 1 through 5 are the ones that are included for free for you guys. So you're going to get all of these for free. Now, 6 is where we'll hit the premium Geo Reports. Again, they're going to require that premium subscription, but it's a really valuable piece of content for you guys to have at an open house. Let me show you why. I swipe over to style 6. That's where the Geo Reports start, and it's going to start building me a custom report based on the address that I put in the property details section before. So it's hitting things like Google, Yelp, all these different websites to pull information about that address specifically. I mean, check it out. We've got convenience information from Google, how close that grocery store or hospital or gym is. So we're going to let those potential buyers know the convenience features about that house. We want to let them know about schools as well, not only the distance from that address, but also the school ratings. So we've loaded that in there. You can actually go into the property details section and change which schools or which convenience features you're showing. We've also got restaurants by cuisine in a 5-mile radius provided by Yelp. So definitely some cool features there. And then, of course, down here at the bottom, we've got internet speeds provided by Broadband Now. Not only the speeds, but also the providers. So especially now with it being such a culture of streaming, now you can show them, hey, we've got fiber here. All those streaming needs, the kids playing all the games, you watching Netflix, all Amazon Prime, all of that can be handled because this address gives you good internet. And walk score and sound score, of course, are going to give a little bit more information about the listing. Walk score is going to show how walkable that listing is. Is it near public transportation, entertainment, recreation, things like that are going to go into the walk score. Sound score is going to show you how loud a neighborhood is. Is it near a train station or an airport? So different things like that are going to come into play when you talk about walk score and sound score. So really tremendous piece of content. Like I said, for an open house, this thing is a game changer. Imagine having a stack of these sitting at your open house. Now you're giving these potential buyers value-added information, because if I'm a potential buyer, I'm going to care how close that grocery store that I'll be visiting every other week, or how good the schools are that I'm enrolling my children in. And so this information is going to make it easy for you to market your listing there. And 6 through 13 are different style options for those geo reports. Again, we wanted to give you different choices for whatever you think is going to work best for your buyer specifically. So you can scroll through and see different style options. When you look at some of the style options, they've got a little bit of added information. Outdoors has golf courses, dog parks, recreational parks, things of that nature. Another thing I want to mention about these geo reports is that in this upcoming update, we've got some really amazing geo reports being introduced for you guys. We've got new style options. We're testing some new stuff with trying to make geo reports specific for certain audiences. A geo report that works better for families, and then a geo report that's for millennials. So we're really doing some interesting stuff with these geo reports for you guys. We want to make it easy for you guys to market your listings. All right, so that is the buyers tab. I'm going to go ahead and press that back button, take us back to our results screen. And now I'm going to jump on over to the sellers tab. So I'm going to press that sellers tab, and it's going to take me into that seller program. Like I said before, this is going to be an amazing way for us to make a net sheet and talk about that net at close number for that listing presentation with our seller. Again, all you really need to do, we've loaded in these defaults, so all you really need to do to get to a rough estimate of that net for your seller is plug in a sales price, a loan balance, an estimated closing date, and hit compute. Those 3 input fields, and you're going to get to a rough estimate of that net number for your clients. But again, I want to go through this input screen with you guys so that you can be out there using this and understand all the functionality that we've built in for you guys. I'm going to stick with that same $320,000 price there. Broker fee, we can change that to a different percentage or number. But more importantly, I do want to mention that you can edit that split right here with the settings gear. So if you want to go in there and get creative with the split, maybe put a flat fee on one side or both sides, you can do all those special types of splits via that settings gear on the broker fee input field. The repairs, that's where we can allot any money for repairs. The miscellaneous sections for any one-time closing cost transaction fee, things like seller's contribution, HOA transfer fee, anything like that could go here. You can plug it in as a lump sum right here, or if you want to itemize all those out, you can go in that settings gear and list those things out. We even have the ability to subtract from the closing costs in that miscellaneous settings gear right there. That's more relevant, of course, on the buyer side, but definitely wanted to let you guys know that there is the ability to subtract from closing costs in the miscellaneous settings gear. I talked about property taxes, so I'm going to skip that. Loan balance, though, this is something I want to show you guys. We've got a loan balance calculator because we know that a lot of times when you're working up a net sheet for your seller, you ask them how much they still owe, and they don't know. They know roughly when they started their mortgage, but they don't know how much they still owe. They've got to go look that up somewhere. And so we've actually got a loan balance calculator in the calculators tab, but we've also tied it to this input field because we know this is where you're using it most. So if you're working up that net sheet for your seller, You're just at your kid's soccer game, standing in front of that seller, working up a quick net sheet for them, and you ask them how much they still owe, and they say they don't know. You can say, hey, not a problem. I can calculate roughly how much you still owe if you've been making regular payments. And then you can press on this settings here, and it's going to take you into that loan balance calculator. Once in, you can then say, hey, how much did you buy your house for? All right, you bought it for $300,000. That's good to know. You put $65,000 down. Oh, that's good for you. I'll plug that in as a down payment. Loan start date. They'll know roughly when they started their loan. So I can go in here and say, oh, I started the loan. You started the loan back in 2006. It was maybe at the beginning of the year, so I'll keep it February of 2006. That's good enough for me. If they don't know what interest rate they got on that payoff, we've actually loaded in historical interest rate data for you guys. So I can actually press this settings here, and a graph is going to pull up showing interest rates over the years. So we said they got their mortgage back in 2006, so I'm going to scroll to 2006 here. I can see a high rate, a low rate, or an average rate. I'm going to go ahead and stick with that average rate for 2006, 6.41, and I'm going to press use up here in the top right corner to load it into my loan balance calculator. Now I'm going to calculate how much they still owe by pressing that compute button, and I'm going to tell that seller, hey, if you've been making regular payments, you still owe about $176,000. Now we were still working up our net sheet, you guys, and so I'm going to press this use button to load this into my net sheet. It takes it over, loads it into my net sheet along with the interest rate. Lastly, I would need to choose an estimated closing date, but we've got that set to 2 months out for your seller net sheet, so I'm going to keep it where it is, and I'm going to hit compute. And just like that, I'm telling my seller that they're looking to walk with $115,000. Now, I want to stress something with you guys. We went through the entire input screen there. We went through every input field, and we even calculated how much that seller still owed. And it took us, 3 or 4 minutes to get to this net number. There's no faster way for you guys to get to this net number than this amazing tool that Charles and his team are providing you with. And so the speed and simplicity, just unmatched. You really should show your appreciation to them for footing the bill for this amazing tool for you guys. Now, all the same functionality I showed you on the buyer side, available here on the seller side as well. So I can itemize those closing costs out, go in there and make tweaks if I want to. I can press and hold on my results screen, take that snapshot, shoot it over to my client real quick. I could press the share icon in the top right corner and send this off a variety of different ways, save it for a different device, all that cool stuff I showed you before. And of course, I can edit my results. So again, the flexibility to work with that seller. You show him these results, he says, hey, 115 looks okay, but I thought you and I talked about me being able to walk with 140. I need 140 for this new house that I found. Well, Mr. Seller, if you need to walk with 140,000, we're actually going to have to sell your house for about 345. For you to be able to walk with 140,000. Now, let's say you're working with that unrealistic seller, and he says, yeah, you know what? I don't care what houses in this neighborhood are selling for. Let's go ahead and list this for 346 because I need to walk with 140,000 for this new house that I found. Well, that's where you can actually work with that unrealistic seller and talk him down to a more realistic listing price. We've got 2 ways for you to do that. The first way is by rotating your device here at your results screen. So you hold your device in front of you, rotate it to the left or the right like you're trying to watch a movie on it, and it's going to run 5 net sheets at once for you. And you can use this screen to talk about the comps in the area if you want to. Say, hey, Mr. Seller, I know you've got your heart set on listing this at around 340, 345, but houses in this neighborhood, they really aren't selling for that much. The house down the street that sold, it sold for 328, but they've got an extra bathroom than us. I really think we need to price this accordingly. I think we need to price it at 320. Does 115 grand still get you where you're trying to go? Being able to lay out these 5 different sales prices and 5 different net at close numbers, it's going to help you guys have that talk with that unrealistic seller. If that doesn't work, however, we've got another way for you guys to handle that unrealistic seller, and you can talk about carrying costs or holding costs. If they want to list a house too high and it sits on the market for an extended period of time, they could actually end up netting less money than if they just listed it for less and it moved quicker. Each month that that house sits on the market, they're paying things like taxes, insurance, interest, sometimes additional things like HOA or lawn care, pool care, different things like that they're paying that they're not getting back. Again, meaning that they could end up netting less money than if they just listed the house for a little bit less and it moved quicker. And so that's something hard to illustrate to your clients, except for now it's easy to illustrate to those unrealistic sellers because we've got this holding cost calculator that we've loaded in here. So if you swipe over, it's going to actually calculate up the interest, taxes, and insurance that they're paying while that house is sitting on the market for 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. And like I said, we can add expenses, things like HOA and pool care, lawn maintenance, all that can be added through this edit expenses button right here. And we can also run the same scenario at 30, 60, 90, and 120 days instead of 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. But this is how you'll have that conversation with that unrealistic seller where you say, hey, the last house that was listed too high, it sat on the market for almost a year. If ours sits on the market for almost a year, it's going to cost you about $22,000. It might be better to list it for a little bit less and have it move in 3 months. This is a way for you guys to illustrate how much it's costing them to have that house sitting on the market. And if they don't price it right, that's what it's going to do. It's going to sit on the market. So really tremendous way for you guys to handle that unrealistic seller. So that's on the right side of the net sheet. On the left side, we've got a multiple offer comparison tool where you guys can go in here and compare up to 12 different offers. We've got all the data points that you really need to use to differentiate these offers for your sellers. You can go in here and add things like contingency, home warranty, earnest money. You can edit the closing costs for your offers. And of course, if you're working up a long multiple offer comparison, you sometimes want to show that seller which one you talked about being probably best for them. And so you can actually press this star button here to note which offer you guys were talking about was probably going to be the best offer for them, so that when you send over that great looking report, it actually notes which one was probably going to be the best one for them. So really tremendous multiple offer comparison tool loaded into your net sheet as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press this calculators tab, jump on over to the calculators and go through these a little bit. Some of these we've already gone through because we've tied them to the buyer and seller tab. For example, loan balance. It's got its own calculator here, but we've also tied that to the seller net sheet program with that settings gear that's on the loan balance input field. But it's got its own calculator here. Again, Smart Compare and Multiple Offers, those two comparison tools that I showed you guys, also have their own programs here, but you can also access those comparison tools by swiping right on your buyer or seller results screen. Sell to net and monthly affordability are reverse calculations. We've kind of tied that functionality into the buyer and seller tab by letting the agents or letting you guys run the numbers in reverse and edit those result screens. But these programs have their own value as well. The sell to net being the reverse calculation of a net sheet, taking a net goal that a seller has and then running the numbers backwards to tell them what you need to sell their house for them to walk with that goal. That's a great way for you guys to walk up to a potential seller and break the ice. If you overhear somebody saying that they're thinking about selling, you can now walk up to that person and say, hey, I hear you're thinking about selling. How much are you looking to make? And you can start the conversation off with that seller with the one number they really care about, that net goal that they have set in their mind. So a really tremendous program there. Monthly affordability is the reverse calculation of a buyer estimate. A lot of buyers nowadays, they're living in that monthly payment. They don't know what priced home they're looking for just yet, but they do know how much they've budgeted to spend monthly. Well, this is a great program here for that type of scenario because you can take that monthly payment and run that number backwards, include all the taxes and fees and everything, and let them know what priced home based on how much they're willing to put down. They can get based on that monthly payment. So really, really tremendous program there for you as well, and a great one to use on renters because renters are the types of buyers who have gotten accustomed to that monthly payment. Another great program for renters specifically is the Rent versus Buy program. The rent versus buy is a really great comparison of renting versus buying. We've loaded in a lot of different metrics that really get you an accurate rent versus buy comparison. We've loaded in things like homes appreciating, rent rising, maintenance costs involved in owning a home, annual tax savings that you get for being a homeowner. We've loaded all this stuff in so that when you're talking about renting versus buying with these renters, you're actually giving them a realistic scenario. And what the rent versus buy calculator is going to break down for you is that break even point. The time it takes for them to have spent more money on rent than they would just buying that $320,000 house that they were looking at. We can actually go in there and show them over time how much we're going to be spending renting and how much you'd be spending over time buying, taking into the appreciation of the home and the rent rising, all of that being taken into account. So really powerful tool there for you guys to use on your renters. Another calculator that's been extremely popular here as of late is this iBuyer comparison calculator. And just a special teaser, we've got another iBuyer comparison calculator coming soon. It's going to give you the ability to compare multiple offers, investor offers, different iBuyer offers, normal traditional offers. So you can make a multiple offer comparison and include those iBuyers. So really tremendous tool there. But this iBuyer comparison calculator, the reason we created this is because we saw that a lot of these online investor companies are popping up and stealing sellers from agents. They're going on social media, companies like Zillow with Zillow offers, Open Door, Knock, and they're targeting these potential sellers. And these sellers are going with them. They're selling their house to Open Door so that they can relocate for work across the nation. And then they get there to Arizona or wherever they might be, and they're telling everybody, how amazing it was working with Open Door. It was so fast and easy. But what they're not telling everybody is how much money they left on the table. And you know what? They might not even know how much money they left on the table because Open Door was able to get to them first. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a comparison calculator so that you guys can get to these sellers first. And you can have that conversation with them where you say, hey, you got to relocate in the next 3 weeks for work. I understand that. 3 weeks is a short time. Working with Open Door might be good for you. But if you've got a month for me to market your home and get fair market value for it, full price, you're going to be walking with $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more. I want to show you the cost of convenience. And that's what that iBuyer comparison calculator is going to do. It's going to let you run a scenario where you show these sellers, hey, working with one of these online investor companies, it might be a little bit quicker, but you're going to be leaving a ton of money on the table. So we wanted to create a calculator for you guys to use to do that. And if you guys aren't specifically affected by iBuyers just yet, this is a great way for you to get ahead of the curve. iBuyers are working across the nation, and these sellers are moving to new locations and telling people about the quick and easy process. And so this is a great way for you guys, even if you're not in the area where iBuyers are prevalent just yet, this is a great way for you to get in front of this industry shift that's happening. So a really tremendous calculator there. Definitely want to mention that to you guys real quick before I talked about premium. All right, so another thing I want to say before we jump on over to the premium section is that we've loaded all of these calculators in here, and Charles and his team are footing the bill for this tool for you guys. So everything in the buyer, seller, and calculators tab, aside from those Geo Reports that I showed you, and the ability to add your photo and logo, but everything else in these 3 tabs are being provided to you guys for free by Charles and his team. So they're giving you a tremendous amount of value. Definitely show them some appreciation next time you see Charles and his team over there. But we've also got that optional subscription. Like I said, the premium over here, this next tab, it's going to be an optional subscription for you guys. And for that 99-cent subscription, or if you want to pay for the full year, $9.99, for that subscription, you're going to get the ability to add your photo and logo to your account and brand your reports. You're going to get access to those Geo Reports that I just showed you, and then you're going to get access to these 3 categories of content that show up when you click on that premium tab. The 3 categories are infographics, lenses, and lead gen calculators down here at the bottom. I actually like to start with lead gen calculators. These things are tremendous and definitely something that you guys are going to get a lot of enjoyment out of using. So these are consumer calculators, but they're a way for you guys to generate leads because anybody that clicks on those calculators and tries to use one of those calculators, we're going to give you their contact information. And so the calculators, again, they're meant for you guys to post out there on social media or wherever you want and let those potential buyers and sellers run the numbers themselves. And if they want to look at the results, we're going to collect their info for you before they're able to see those results. And so that's a way for you guys to generate leads by putting these value-added calculators out there for the consumers to use. Now we've got a variety of them. You could scroll through and just see all the available consumer calculators that are there. But let's just use one. Here, I'm going to choose this monthly payment one, for example. This is a great calculator for you to use on social media. Let's say I wanted to post this monthly payment calculator on social media. So we've actually optimized all these images to be used as ads on Facebook. And so I would recommend using these on Facebook. So let's say I post this monthly payment calculator to Facebook and I type up a post that says, hey, you might be able to afford more than you think. Try out my monthly payment calculator below to see how much home you could afford with the monthly payment that works with your budget. And I could post that to social media, to Facebook. I can run it as an ad. And then anybody who clicks on that calculator in my area, I can run it as an ad to my area. Anybody who clicks on that calculator, we're going to send that contact information directly to me because I posted it. So that is the lead gen calculators. You can share them a variety of different ways. Again, we recommend Facebook because we've optimized these to be used as ads on Facebook, but you can post these wherever you want. Essentially, when you choose one, I'll go in and choose one real quick, and you use that share icon up there in the top right corner. It's actually going to give you several different sharing options. One of those being copy. So it's going to create a unique URL for you. All of your lead gen calculators that you create, it creates a unique website URL for you. And you can copy that URL and post it wherever you want. We see agents putting it in their signature line or emailing it out to their clients. Do whatever you want with that. Again, we recommend Facebook, but you can share it however you want. If you do this on the web version of the app, we actually give you the code. That's one of the share options is we give you the code to have these embedded on your website. Just give the code to your webmaster and let him install it on your website. You can have these on your website. So lead gen calculators, first category that you're getting for that 99-cent subscription, and a tremendous amount of value there. We're constantly trying to innovate there and add new lead gen calculators for you. Now the infographics up here at the top, these are flyers that we can use to make the numbers more understandable to our consumers. So if I go to that buyer tab, for example, that's going to show me a whole bunch of buyer infographics, these flyers that I can use for my buyers. And like I said, these are meant to make the conversations about the numbers more understandable for the everyday consumer. I'll scroll down here and for an example, just to illustrate what I mean, we've got this cup of coffee flyer. This is a great one to have a conversation about an extra payment, but relating that to what a buyer spends on a cup of coffee every day. Mr. Buyer, if you were to put what you spend on a cup of coffee every day, if you put that towards the principal on your home, you're going to cut off 6 years of your payoff. And so we've got a flyer. All these flyers are dynamic, and you can make the numbers more relatable to the consumer. This is another one that I really love, the buy now or wait until next year. This is a great flyer for using for that buyer who found a house that they're in love with, but they're not ready to pull the trigger yet. The reason this is such a powerful flyer is because we can show that buyer, hey, the house is X amount right now, but that same exact house is going to cost this much next year based on these industry projections, like interest rate projections, home price appreciation projections. This same exact house, the $425,000 right now, based on these industry projections, same exact house is going to be $445,000 next year. And not only that, but waiting just 1 year to buy that same exact house is going to end up costing you $283 monthly. $3,300 annually. And if we're talking about the full term length of 30 years, waiting just 1 year to buy this house is going to cost you over $100,000. So a really powerful way for you guys to make the numbers more relatable to the consumer and get them to take action. Now, like I said before, all of these flyers are dynamic. So you can actually go in here and customize the numbers so that they work for your client specifically. Maybe I'm working with that buyer who's looking at that $270,000 house. If that's the case, this flyer is not going to work for them. I need the numbers to say 270 so they're more relevant to my consumer specifically. Well, we can press continue and it'll take you into the calculator that corresponds with that flyer, and then you can go in there and edit the numbers of that flyer. So that is how the infographics section works. Browse all of those amazing pieces of content and then go in there and dynamically customize the numbers so they work for your market or your client specifically. Another thing I want to mention about these infographics is that we're constantly uploading new ones in here for you guys. We've actually recoded the way that we've done this premium section so that we can load this stuff in whenever there's a major market shift really fast. So for example, mortgage rates started hitting historic lows. So we started making some content for that. They're starting to near 2-year and 3-year lows. So we're making content for that for you guys. And we load it in. We can have a new piece in here in 2 weeks. So definitely some tremendous stuff there for you guys. And want you guys to know that for this subscription, you're getting a continual stream of new content that we're providing to you guys. Nothing illustrates that steady stream of content, though, like the third category here, the lenses. The lenses are a really fun way for you guys to really connect with these consumers on in a fun, different way. So if you're familiar with social media platforms doing things like filters and frames, this is similar to that. I can take a photo with a fun lens, fun frame around it. But these are specific to real estate. And we've got several different categories you can scroll through here. Open house all the way to the right. Of course, you can take pictures of you or your clients at that open house. Hashtag realtor life is going to be funny catchphrases that you guys like to say. Things like I'm never too busy for your referrals, Saturdays are my Mondays. Different things like that can be found in hashtag realtor life. Listing, this is going to be a category for you to take pictures of your listing. Just listed, hot market, great schools nearby, beautiful backyard, oversized lot. Different listing lenses can be found that are great for taking a picture of your listing and then posting to social media. The closing category is definitely a fun one for taking pictures of those buyers after closing. Whether they're standing in front of their new home and you're using our first home lens, or they're sitting at that closing table and you want to take that just closed photo of them signing their paperwork and getting their keys. These closing lenses definitely going to help you guys build that relationship with your clients. The seasonal ones, those have been really fun lately. Definitely want you guys to know that we're constantly hitting all the social media and major holidays. So we've got Mardi Gras lenses loaded in there. We did Valentine's Day lenses, Christmas, Thanksgiving, even Hanukkah. We've got a lot of seasons that and holidays that we've been hitting with these. The winter ones are about to be removed. Spring ones are going in there. After Mardi Gras, we've got St. Patrick's Day coming up, so definitely some fun stuff there. I'm going to go ahead and go into that seasonal section and just show you the kind of fun stuff that we've got. We've got beads for leads. Throw me some leads for this beautiful home. Ready to buy you a house. Selling your home will be a piece of king cake. When it comes to marketing your house, I'm relentless. So just some fun ways for you guys to take pictures of yourselves and take pictures of your listings and take pictures of your clients using these fun frames and really get some interesting engagement on social media. I've got a picture of a kitchen pulled up on one of my monitors, so I'm going to go ahead and snap a photo with one of these lenses. I'm going to use the throw me some leads for this beautiful home lens. So let's imagine we're trying to market our listing on social media. So we go in, we go into the kitchen. It's a beautiful kitchen. That's something I think the social media will eat up. So I'm going to take a picture of this kitchen. So I whip out my JK Closing Agent app. I go to the lenses, I snap that photo. When I do snap that photo, you'll see a logo toggle is going to show up in the bottom right corner. If I've got my logo on my account, I can flip that toggle. It's going to let me apply that logo to this photo. I can drag it around. I'm going to put it in that bottom right corner. But now I can post this to social media, or I can send it over to that client who's looking for that beautiful kitchen. So we're making it easy for you guys to make social media posts with relevant content with these lenses, lead gen calculators, and infographics. So definitely want you guys to know what's included in that subscription. Last few things to know about your app. Bottom right corner where you see Charles's face, that's going to show your rep. That's how you can get in contact with your rep. You can get all of Charles' contact information or whichever rep you're associated with. If I go back to the buyer seller tab, like I said before, you can save those estimates. If you ever want to load up a saved estimate on your input screen, you'll find a folder icon in the top right corner, and that's where you can load up those saved estimates. In the top left corner, that's going to be a menu icon. Pressing on that, you can go in here and do different things like edit your profile. Starting at the bottom, actually, you can toggle over to landscape on a iPad. We've got landscape mode for those of you who use keyboard cases. You can manage your subscription. So anybody who subscribes to premium, we're not going to charge you until the 31st day. We're giving everybody who subscribes a 30-day trial. And so if you ever need to cancel your subscription, you probably won't want to because we're loading in so much content, give you so much value for 99 cents. But if you ever do need to cancel your subscription, it can be done here in the Manage Subscription button. You can contact our support. It's available from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch tutorial videos on how to use the app a little bit better. And then, of course, like I said earlier, you can go into your profile, edit your photo, logo, personal information, company information, license numbers, and you can also edit your disclaimer right there. All right, so that's you guys' JK Closing Agent app. I'm going to stick around in case you guys have any questions, but definitely show some appreciation to Charles and his team because they're footing the bill to provide you guys with this amazing tool because they want to make your job easier and help you work with those buyers and sellers. And so they're really looking out for you with this tool. All right, you guys have a tremendous day. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And again, I'm going to sit around for a little while in case you guys have any questions. You can type them in if you want, or I'm also going to unmute everybody so that if you do have a microphone, you can ask it.
No.
We look like we have a question from Paola. You can type it in or you can ask it. I've unmuted you, so or you've raised your hand, I think. So you can feel free to ask that question if you want.
Yes, I'm having trouble since yesterday. How are you? Thank you so much. This is wonderful.
Yeah, not a problem.
I'm having trouble since oh my God, yesterday I was trying to set up the one that was for Mardi Gras, that I love it. And I don't know why, usually in my area in Miramar, I don't know, I couldn't open. And it say all the time that I need the connection, but I am connected. So I am in the internet and everything. I don't know what's happening. I can open everything, but not the PalmAgentOne.
So one thing, that's a great question. That's one thing that we're working on right now. I would assume that you have Xfinity as your home internet provider or possibly work.
Yeah.
And so Xfinity is actually blocking our app right now. And so I'm working closely. I've actually got in touch with the right department and we're having that addressed. But the solution for that at this time is just when you're at home, turn off the Wi-Fi. But we hope to have that fixed here in the next week or two. Like I said, we finally got in touch with the right department at Xfinity, but for some reason their internet was blocking our app.
Okay.
So yeah, great question.
Okay. All righty.
All
Then
right.
thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. You have a wonderful day.
The
Anybody
rest is wonderful.
else? Anybody else have any questions? All right. You guys have a wonderful day, and it has truly been a pleasure. Again, I'll leave this up for a little while in case you guys have any questions. Feel free to type them in there, and I'd be happy to get to them. All right, you guys have a wonderful day.